don't think there's a hell of a lot I can do. We're at the mercy of the computer.
Got some magic happening. We're bouncing off Russian and French satellites. It may have faint signal.
How exactly are you going to negotiate that? What magic wand do you have? And usually the answer is he doesn't have an answer.
Now that's a cock and bull story if I ever heard one.
How hard it is to admit the truth. Take him to the little room.
Remember he said you can't have manufacturing jobs in this country? You need a magic wand. Remember the famous? Well, I guess we found the magic wand.
If you watch Fox News, you are living on a different planet.
What is your major malfunction, numbnut?
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Quiet, numbskull. I'm broadcasting.
Here we are, brother. How come the logo's not disappearing? There it is. Here we go. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. Welcome.
Namaset. Holy Spirit, Namaset.
Hello there. Yes. So this. I am Jim. That is John. We are the Baldini brothers. Yeah. So it is Sunday for us. We're recording on a Sunday. It is several days after the events of September 10th, and obviously we are going to be doing a show today that's going to include the late, great Charlie Kirk and things going around that have been going on, and things we've learned, the things we've seen, and where the Democrat Party is, and what's their major malfunction, as the opening said, John, right?
Yeah, and it's a somber day. You know, the best meme I saw all week was a picture of the steps that Charlie was walking up, and Jesus was at the top of it. And you know that's where he is now. You know, and you know that he's okay. He's okay now. So, you know, we're irreverent all the time. I'm sure we're going to break down to being irreverent just because we can't help it. Right. Gallows humor, as it is, but I'm sure we're going to be breaking down to it anyway. So, like, for example, I do notice that I have my pants on there, brother. So the Tubin check has been correct. And
I think,
and this is not CNN, and you know that we do wear our pants on the Ballistic Patriot, Brotherhood of Liberty, whatever, Sussex County Patriot, whatever.
We are not Jeffrey Tubin. That is
defeating
true. That is
defeating
true.
the Matrix, and this is something we should have seen like 20 years, 20 years ago when we started this, because we were called Nazis back then. Remember, we were even like joking around, calling ourselves like we named ourselves after the German tanks, right? Because we wanted who was going to get the biggest German tank, and we had that whole debate. Who was the biggest, mildly inappropriate, but we also had, because of the censorship of the left, we also had to change our name, and we are now on like our fourth or fifth iteration. And that
because they do. Yeah, they do. Right. They do censor you.
Scum on YouTube, right? When we first started this, we would get people that were Patriot fans that would just happen to, come across our show because Patriot wasn't a banned word, and people from all over the world would be calling us and calling into the 20 years ago. You can see, when the internet came out, it was freedom of speech, right? Now look how things have turned. What is the evil Democratic Party? I think I had to tip credit to that young Turk guy, Chen, because he said we're the Democrat Party. We're supposed to be for peace, for freedom of speech, right? And so the Democrat Party used to be for certain things, nonviolence, right? Peace, sit-ins, right? Hippy dippy stuff, right? Love, the summer of love, right? It's supposed to be freedom of speech, right? And what was it against? Censorship, right? George Orwell, Orwellian Big Brother, right? War, the constant war, and all these things. And now look at it. Look what it is now. It is the party of hate. And what we came up with is it is the fake Democrat Party. They're no longer in there for the little guy. They're in for the big money, from the big corporations and the big power, big government.
And John, you know who I blame?
Who?
George H. Bush. George H.W. Bush.
And I am in 1,000%. The moment you said
George
Bush,
H.W. Bush.
stay out of the bushes. Stay out of the bushes.
Yeah, and for those who have clarification of why is because when he ran with after the great Reagan, he ran, and his second run he went up against Clinton, and because his first run he put the taxes in, the whole new taxes thing. Ross Perot decided to
no new taxes.
Yeah, Ross Perot decided to run against him, and because Ross Perot ran against him, because he was such a feckless moron, Bush, because he did that, he invited the Clintons into the White House, because Clintons didn't win with the majority of the population, John. The Clintons won because there was a third guy, Ross Perot, and then we got Saul Alinsky and all the other moronic socialistic tendencies that really went full force to take over the Democrat Party. Up to that,
Bill was a moderate. It's not Bill, right?
Yeah, again, we can pull the full sympathy card for Bill Clinton, and we understand that unconfirmed reports from the Secret Service agents of Bill Clinton would try to stop him before he would enter the private residence and suggest to him that he would go down to the Lincoln bedroom, that he'd be better off sleeping there because of obvious reasons.
There are unconfirmed reports of Secret Servicemen throwing themselves in front of his body as, I want you kill the president.
Yes.
So it's not so we're apologizing unreservedly. We're apologizing unreservedly for the impeachment. We didn't know that bad. We didn't know what he had to deal with.
Today's day, we can find humor in that little bit, right? And we can blame once again for what happened to, and consequently all the bad things that have happened since then. We can now put squarely at the feet of the Bush family. They got Hillary in, right? And
yes, just to be clear,
Saul Alinsky lover of communism, Hillary Clinton,
and that becomes the Democrat Party. So just to be clear, we've never advocated somebody shooting it. Obama would be hard by that, or Clinton, or Bill Clinton. But if somebody did get a shot at them, I'm not saying that anybody should, right? So the number one suspect is a who? say Obama winds up dead, or Bill Clinton winds up dead. Who's the number one suspect for that?
There's a reason why those reports are unconfirmed. There's a reason why those reports are unconfirmed, because we don't want to give out anybody's that we have inside information that they were trying to. They knew what was going on.
Unconfirmed reports. But but it is shocking, and although we make jokes about it, it is shocking that the fake Democrat Party is not the Democrat Party.
It's not the Democrat Party that we grew up with.
No, it's not
the Democrat Party that we knew.
RFK and MLK are rolling in their graves. That today these creeps are doing what they're doing.
There's a reason why RFK is in Trump's cabinet. And it has not just to do with the fact that the Democrats basically ostracized him is only another symptom of the larger disease that's run through that party. And because he's Democrat royalty, John. Like he should have been their guy. He would have been a much better choice than Kamala. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if Trump could have done as well as he did if
of course not. And the reason why is pro tip to the evil enemy party is nothing has changed in Trump. Values are exactly the same. It's who he is, exactly the same.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is a Democrat. What he did is he took over the Republican Party because he knew it could be done, right? And he just stole the Democrat Party from the Democrats, right? He is the best Democrat president we've ever had. And he's not a Republican. And for that, for a fact, that's why Wall Street Journal has Trump derangement syndrome and hate him. That's why the scumbag losertarians like Rand Paul and Massey hate him. That's why the loser Republicans who haven't done anything in 40 years about baby murdering hate him so much and resisted him so much, because they're fraudsters too. he's unique in this sense. Is unlike the Democrats and the Republicans. He says what he means. But if you look at it, you look at his positions and stuff. Pretty much, except for the abortion thing, I think he did come around for that. But he wasn't like a dyed-in-the-wool abortion. And once we explained to him, oh, this is baby murdering, he knew that it was wrong, and so he didn't change any of his values. Well, maybe the Playboy but that's more than changed because of history. His error that he always gets blamed
probably
for.
Maturity. Probably maturity too.
It was just childish. The '60s revolution of sex was childishness and stupid. We now know that, right? Well, they knew it back then. They were all doing it. So, and
John,
nothing's changed.
Yeah, he also saw before anybody really did the theft of jobs to China. He saw that decades before, right? I mean, and like you said before, he hasn't changed in his approach. His approach is still the same.
In the 1980s, we were on board with him because he was on board with us, because we were looking around and we're saying, what happened to the American middle class? It was destroyed. It was given away by that clown Bush and that clown Obama and nitwit Bill Clinton to the Chinese, the Japanese, and the Germans.
Right.
And so that's why, for today, if the Democrat Party, what was their number one? Their number one objective should be closing the border, because just like Cesar Chavez, the agricultural worker who led the unions, right? Who was pro-union in California. The number one target for him was to close the border and get the illegals out there, because they're undercutting working class wages, right? So number one would be closing the border, which was a Democrat thing because of Cesar Chavez and stuff. And number two, it would be be pro-union and bringing back jobs. And who's doing that today? Who's the number one and the number two mission of Donald Trump? Number three, of course, saving the American middle class from fentanyl. Who's that job today? Who's that? Donald Trump and the Republican Party, because Donald Trump stole the Democrat Party from the Democrats. And what you're seeing today, what these clowns are today, fake Democrats, and they should be called out. We shouldn't call them the Democrat Party anymore. They're not. They're an evil party. They're a fake party. It should be a walk away movement, a walk away from the fake Democrat Party. Because of it, because this nonsense they've done, and it's only going to get worse until they realize, until they stop it themselves, until they realize no more. But
no, I think that the piece of it that also is, not to belabor the point, but the Democrat Party, what we've seen over the last couple decades, especially, has kind of grown fast, is that they've turned into a group of revolutionary Jacobins who are trying to destroy the culture. But it's not like there's a problem, an underlying problem that you can see you see the disease. Oftentimes the disease grows inside before it presents itself, and so you can see that where it's presenting itself now, like Madami and several other places where they're talking about complete socialist rhetoric, and the worst part about it, 30 years ago, they would have been thrown out of the party. They would have been like, this is nuts. What are you talking about? We don't, that's like something we don't talk about. At least they would know better than to bring it up. But now people are openly agreeing with them. And this is part of their platform. This has turned into the mayor of New York City's platform, socialist tendencies. And we all know where socialist tendencies lead to. They lean towards the collective. And the collective leads to Soviet Union, where they take you and they throw you in gulags, and they do a lot of they find violence as the answer. In other words, it's not the American way, where our solution to speech that we don't like, when we hear speech we don't like, we give more speech, as Charlie Kirk did so often. There was a lot of things that were said to him, as we'll get into. But he believed in more speech. And we've said that, for the record, we've been saying that for 2 decades, right, brother? If you don't like the speech you're hearing, what people are saying, the answer to speech you don't like is more speech of what you do like, and you have to. It's your job, as Justice Scalia said, it's your job to convince your neighbor of that. And I can even go back even further, John. You go back to Mark Twain, and he talked about who is the country. This idea that you as an individual, you have a duty as a citizen to speak your mind and be heard. And when everyone else is telling you what is right is wrong, and when everyone else is telling you that you got to change your opinion, the mob is against you. This is actual quote from paraphrase quote from Captain America in the Civil War. And the mob is against you, the media is against you, the government's against you. They're all telling you that you're wrong and that you need to change your position. You have to say, no, you move. Hold on a second, brother. Hold on. Sorry about that, brother. Technical issue.
Domestic tranquility there, brother.
So my point is, like, the whole point is you get right down to it. I apologize to everybody. Can't even cut it out because it's too much difficulty. But the point that I'm trying to make is
the Northern Command is in disruption right now, and you have to
dysfunctional. We are legitimately called dysfunctional right now.
You don't have your office like you do right now. You're sitting in a timeout corner.
Yeah, I don't have. Not only do I not have an office, but I am in a timeout corner.
You are in the timeout corner right now.
I'm not even in my own timeout corner, John. I must share my timeout corner with somebody else. That's right. That's not right. State. No,
now, I did want to.
It's all good.
I did want to make another point about it before we get on to the videos, there, brother. I really have, whenever this happens, I feel such horror in my soul and hurt in my soul for the family of the person who did this, right? And even for them, in the sense that it's a lesson I tell to my kids all the time. I mean, unfortunately, this kid was just a kid, and he got fed this evil, and he comes from a good family. His father was a sheriff for 20 some years. His brother's like a social worker and stuff like that. They're Republicans. And he went off to school for half a year. And then he found his boyfriend and he started into the trans life and stuff like that. And he succumbed to the evil. But I tell everybody this because, this is my historical thing. You can put your historical thing because you were going to do that too. But you got Captain America there. So I'm going on what I teach my kids all the time. I said, listen, historically, you look at Hitler and Stalin. It's the difference between a psychopath and a sociopath. And the problem is Hitler is an example of how any one of us can be, how any one of us can turn into, right? I was reading my history of him, and I go, why am I feeling, sympathy for Hitler's early life with his mother? Because his mother dies from lung cancer and stomach cancer the way our mother did, and then you start feeling sympathy for him. But it's a story. At some point in his life, he became broken, and then he went pure evil. He is the psychopath versus the sociopath, Stalin, right? And so for example, we don't know whether Hitler went when he was broken and went evil on any one of things. First of all, he spent 4 years on the Western Front, in trenches in World War I. That's enough to send anybody off the deep end. Then he got wounded, and at that time he was brave too. He got the Iron Cross, which he didn't hand out to anybody. And what might have done it is that his part of the front was actually advancing and doing well. Now eventually they were going to lose because the Americans showed up, and that was going to be the end of everything. But he got wounded, thought that they were going to win and push through on his sector, and then of course the peace breaks out, and he blames it on international Jewry, blah blah blah, and all the rest of it. So we don't know if he went nuts then or another time. It might have been when he did the beer push, when he was going to take over Germany. It didn't work out that well. He wound up in jail, right, for a year. And that's when he wrote Mein Kampf, which is translates as to Mein Struggles, which is why I'm bringing it up. Or most likely it happened when his mother saved up money to send him to Vienna, because he had dreams of being a great this, right? He failed the first time, he comes back. Well, she knows she's dying from cancer. Instead of telling him, what does she do? She gathers up all of his money and says, you can do it, Adolf. You can do it, right? And sends him off. Doesn't tell him that she's dying, right? From cancer. He goes off. She dies. He finds out for it. Comes back. Then he's horrified. He's terrible. And he's destroyed. And then he disappears into the wilds of Vienna for 3 years as a homeless guy. Only to surface like once, ranting and raving as a maniac at a time. So what broke him? But whatever broke him, broke him as a human being. And the next thing you know, he is now Adolf Hitler that we all know and hate. Right? The evil is taken over. And the problem was, what made him so different and so dangerous is that he still, had the abilities, they could say about him. He could famously in the Nuremberg trial, and I think it's in the pictures, or it's in the book. I read it in one of the other books. At the Nuremberg trials, where they're trying all the Nazis. The problem is they didn't try all the communists after the communism fell. That's one of the problems with why communism is still around today. But in the Nuremberg trials, they tried all the Nazis after the war, and there were a lot of judges and generals. They allowed the Nazism to kill all the millions of people they did. And with one scene, famously, they didn't translate the Hitler speech, and he's in there, he's railing like a maniac, like he's doing it, and the crowd's going on and on, and you see the judge starts crying, and they say, and what happens is the prosecutor hadn't had it translated. It was part of the speech where he's encouraging the German people, and the judge goes, is it wrong that he was trying to stop, unemployment, and he was trying to bring back, the poor people who couldn't work, and save the country, and so that's the thing about Hitler. He could inspire, he could cajole you, but then of course he could bully and terrorize you, because he was a normal person that went evil, unlike Stalin, who was just a sociopath, right? He never spoke until everybody else in the room spoke, because he can't judge human beings. To him, human beings were spiders. Famously, he had a naked woman up in the tree, not for the sexual reason for that. He just wanted to see a woman in the tree. He's a sociopath like that. When his mother died, he and his mother had like slept with people like priests and stuff like that or whatever to give him the best education he could. When his mother died, he said, why would I care? I didn't even intend to fall. She's useless for me to use now, and that's a different psychopath than a sociopath. And so on the one-on-one, the one competition, of course, Hitler, signs a treaty with him, and shocked, Hitler stabs him in the back and invades and attacks Russia, right? Because, but again, the lesson is that at any time, any one of us can break down and let the crosses that we have to bear turn us into a Hitler. And you see the evil of this kid who goes to school for half a year. He was super smart. He got an ACT. So he had some arrogance in him, right? He goes to college for half a year, as an engineer, fails out or whatever, and then he's going to engineering school. But you can see I blame for this the evil atheists, bigots in the French school, and they're also anti-Semites because they're secular Jews who metastasize the evil of cultural Marxism and took over all of the colleges and have spread this as a disease into America. This is an un-American idea. Communist materialism are anti-American. They are against freedom, against free markets, against God in the public square, against in God we trust, which is the most theological statement anybody can ever make. It's on our money. It's so un-American, but it's an evil from Europe that's been transplanted in America that this kid fell afoul of, and I'm sure they're going to find more of them. The question is, apparently people knew about it. Now they had no duty to act on it, but if they helped him, if they bought the gun, if they helped him on the show him how to do it or something like that, then they need to be aiding and abetting, and they need to be charged too. But it's such an unnecessary thing, because this could only happen if the Democrat Party allowed it, and they have. They are the source of hate. They've inculcated it, and now they have it in Bernie, in Hillary, in Madami, in AOC. This is the evil of the cultural Marxism that responds with hate and violence. And now this is your point. You should be chiming in. When, brother? When they don't get their way. Go ahead, take it away.
So I think what John is trying to lead into is because it sounds, the whole evil of what we're facing in the Democrat Party today is that it's about power, right? They want to have and maintain power, like good, like people who think that they are always going to know what's best for you and me. There's a mentality, people who say maybe it's narcissistic or whatever. I don't want to give any labels. It's not about labels. We know these people. They're the people who know how to do things or think they know how to do things better than the ordinary citizens. They're the ones who believe in societal controls, such as you obviously need to be forced to buy an electric car. You obviously need to be forced to give up your gas stove. You obviously need to be forced to have windmills to be generating your energy because you don't know enough and you're too, unintelligent, illiterate, and ignorant to know better than those in power. Those are, people like the AOCs, like you said, Bernie. They know what the right answers are, and they're going to shove those right answers down your throat, no matter what you say. It goes back to the Orwellian story of forcing people to agree with you, and putting that boot on your head, and you are forced to agree that 2 + 2 = 5, even though all common sense says different. And if you don't, they're going to push harder on that boot until you are forced to finally agree. And everyone who's watching already had that boot put on their head, and they know better than to disagree or fight against them because it's already happened to them. They've already been beaten. That's why, or in the case of many of those, they've already been indoctrinated. Like if you're in a classroom, you're in a classroom as a student, and you hear a teacher do something like 2 + 2 = 5. To say anything else is racist. It's white privilege or whatever it may be. And I'm being a little facetious here, only because I'm using a very simple.
Are you?
Simple
Because
example.
You've been saying this hate American crap for the last from the Frankfurt
2 + 2
School to the colleges to the education to you ducked it, but to the education so-called degree for all the teachers down to all the schools, this is the crap that they've been teaching them.
Well, what I'm trying to say is the 2 + 2 = 4 is it's a silly example because we should all know, but in reality, it's they'll use whatever method they can say. Well, if you disagree with, then you're suffering from white privilege, or you're just you're not you don't have a lived experience of it. There's a whole bunch of like things that they can say to try to knock you down. And when they did that to people, to Charlie Kirk, he was able to deflect all that and really turn it around on them. That's one of the reasons why they hated him so much. And so he became a major roadblock for them as someone who's articulate. I mean, and to be honest, John, you and I think we could turn those arguments too. It's not something that's unique to Charlie Kirk, but he certainly has a larger platform. He had a larger platform than we do, and he's younger than us, and he's in the schools, and he's a much more attractive guy for the younger generation to come and talk to. But I think getting back to my point. And getting back to your point too, brother, this whole idea, where does it come from? It comes from the universities. It comes from the leftist colleges and universities. One of the the largest funders of these institutions are Chinese students who are paying full freight plus to live there. There's no coincidence. There should be zero coincidence in the fact that many of these institutions, which are the birthplace of this hatred, are left-wing ideological centers that are funded by Chinese, the China syndrome, or whatever you want to call it. And I make this point because it's also filtered down to the lower schools, to the K-12 schools. I know because I've seen it. I've seen K-12. I get the regular emails from the social studies teachers of the state of New Jersey, and I can tell you that the stuff that they're pushing, the resources that they want you to use, are so far left that, and I have complained and I've sent emails. I said, when are you guys going to start, having diversity in thoughts and ideas? And I get nothing back. They ignore me.
Why aren't they teaching American civics?
John,
why aren't they teaching
the reason
truth?
why they're not teaching American civics gets down to an educated populace on civics is going to be able to push back against that. You have a bunch of kids who are just been indoctrinated. They think their civics that they know is what they're being told to believe in the schools. That's the indoctrination. Indoctrination isn't just about like telling what people to think. It's conditioning them to think along one single path, so that when they leave you, they're going to default back to your path that you've put them on. The idea of running into someone like a Thomas Sowell, that you can reject Thomas Sowell, a conservative, articulate black man who knows what he's talking about. You can reject him if you're on the right path, because obviously you can just say he's been conditioned by the right, or he's got it all wrong. This is right. It goes back to this fundamental belief that I mentioned before, that Bernie has, that AOC has. They want to remain in power, and they know that the only right answer is you got to give up your gas stove. You got to give up your gas car. You got to move into an apartment building and give up your home, so that we can have more centralized planning, so that everyone has shared resources. That's what it comes down to. It's this very simple, articulated message of they know what's best for you. You don't.
I'm going
So
to
you
connect
better
some dots.
believe them.
I'm going to connect some dots. Karl Marx was an atheist, God-hating, devil-worshipping, God-hating, anti-Semite, and bigot towards Christian, who was envious of people who actually worked, because he never worked a day in his life, and jealous of what they did, and was a spoiled child, living off of not one, not two, but 3 trust funds, right? So the Frankfurt School was the exact same thing. A bunch of secular, ethically Jewish, but atheist, anti-Jewish, anti-religious Jewish, anti-Semites, and of course bigots towards Christianity. And they take over the education system in the colleges, and it gets spread down to the high schools, and then now into regular grade schools. So that this is the theory, and it's the same thing. If they don't get their way, they throw a childish tantrum, because they're just like Marx in every way, shape, or form. It's just a cultural version of it, right? And Marx wasn't about economics anyway. It was about the religion. It's just like G.K. Chesterton said. It's not that you believe in anything if you don't believe in God. It's that you'll believe in anything. And they believe in this cultural Marxism, this materialism, which is the antithetical to Americanism and the founding of America. It's the exact opposite of America. And now it's all the way in all of our schools, and it's teaching this stuff. And it's so prevalent that these kids can pick it up and go, oh, yeah, it's the right thing. And we're not getting our way, so we're spoiled. We're going to catch them, and we're going to use violence, and we're going to get our way that way. And that's where the fake Democrat Party is today.
I want to drive home the point that it's not just in. It's not like it's in the schools. It's in the K-12 schools, and it's in the administrations. There's a reason why we did a report a couple years ago that in second grade they're showing cartoon penises and cartoon vaginas and naked kids in cartoonish and they're making them label the different parts of the private areas. There's a reason why that's going on in the state of New Jersey, and the main reason is because of that indoctrination level in the colleges and universities that makes that acceptable. When I went to school, when I was in college and university, at my school, one of the number one education schools in the state, we would have never had that kind of conversation with 8th graders or 9th graders or high schoolers, because you don't want to get into that slippery slope of having a child accuse you of something. And we were told, you don't talk about sex. If a student comes to you and says to you, what's, I got questions about, sexual thing 1, 2, and 3, whatever it may be, you say, the guidance counselor's right down the hallway. They'll be glad to talk to you. And you leave it. You don't want to have anything to do with it. Now they're being told to embrace it. Why? Because this is the part of the indoctrination. And if you can indoctrinate kids in many different ways, and through emotions, the thing called empathy, which has been one of the things they've been trying to rail on Charlie Kirk, picking apart the things that he said, but using these emotions to convince our kids of what is right and wrong, instead of understanding facts and being able to interpret facts. If you can't interpret facts, then anything you're told, you're going to believe. And that's what's being broken down. And the administrators are also letting this happen too. So it's a problem that's layered within the schools. It's almost like, what do? I mean, you have to really change the culture.
You got to eradicate it. Yeah, it's come to a point where this is the future now. That's a deciding point. Which way are we going to go? Which way is America going to go? It's 1850 all over again. Are we going to be biblical and free, or statist and atheist? But you said empathy, and now's a chance for you to jump on to segue to the next part.
Well, I just want to say this. I had a student of mine. I had a student of mine from 20 years ago. She reached out to me recently, and she's got a baby. She's very happily, married. And she's like, I'm homeschooling my daughter because she doesn't, because of what she's seeing in the schools. And I said, that's the smartest thing you've ever said. It's the smartest thing you could do is keep your kid out of the schools and keep them at home. I mean, you got to really, I'm not saying you shouldn't send your kid to school as much as I'm saying you got to really be watchful, and you got to really be involved in that school and in that district and know what's going on and paying attention to what's going on. Because I know schools that that use Trevor Noah as a primary source, and he's as far left as you can possibly be. And
I don't think these people are left, James. These are communists. These are un-American. It's not like it's a right, a left, implying that there's some unity of American thought that they are. No, they are a foreign idea, perversion, a foreign psychosis or germ or virus, whatever you want to call it, that does not belong. It's not indigenous to America. It came from over there, and it needs to be sent back over there. And I think until we eradicate
it's the German school,
antibodies,
it's the German school.
Until we get the antibodies to crush, like in Fantastic Voyage, to crush them, then we're going to go. Then we're going to have problems. But now it's time to go into the clips that you did want to talk about there, brother, about the hate. Did the question being? The question being.
You want me to play the tape? The
question is they accused Charlie of being hateful, and you were going to do some clips.
Okay, here we go. Let's put this up. I was actually let me jump to this one.
Your eyes because they were saying USA.
Yeah, actually.
Oh, come on.
You're destroying America. You are actively contributing more to the decline of the American empire than every communist in history. Literally every left-wing, anti-war, anti-American activist.
I'm giving you space. Yeah. Allow him or her. I'm sorry, I don't mean to misgender you to talk. So.
Wow. So, first of all, I just want to congratulate you on the organizational strategy. I mean, just like
the guy goes on for a while. We don't have to listen to that whole thing. Here's one right about this is somebody who walked past a Charlie Kirk memorial service.
Do you support a Nazi?
No, I don't support a Nazi. Charlie Kirk wasn't a Nazi. You support a shooter?
Yep, sure do. It's freedom.
You support Charlie Kirk's shooter?
Sure do. He does all a favor.
Would you shoot somebody like Charlie Kirk?
I would have killed him myself.
We need to politically destroy that culture. That whole movement should be crushed. the way Charlie would want it to be on election day, in the marketplace, in the media, at universities, wherever it shows its ugly face.
Then there's this one, which is another memorial service.
Charlie Kirk! Charlie Kirk!
This guy. You're a piece of shit.
Come with it.
Oh, you're protected. You're dead.
No, I don't f***ing believe in these motherfuckers.
What do you
Believe
guys
that.
think of that?
Believe that. No,
You're
I believe
dead,
that. I didn't ask for no help.
You're dead,
I didn't ask for no help.
You're
No,
dead,
you asked for help. You got
You're
yeah, you
dead,
think I asked for help? I teach you all these you wouldn't like that. Oh yeah, handle it Charlie Kirk! Charlie Kirk!
Well, brother, that was on the loop there. Sorry, but it's you can see like I wonder what those rainbow backpack is all about. What that rainbow backpack there is. That's Then there's this one which is just kind of like I don't know, just play it for a little bit.
5 inches in Elon Musk and Trump was 5 inches in you. Which way are you moving? Which way are you moving, Charlie?
Is that your question?
That is my question. If you were 5 inches in Elon Musk and Trump was 5 inches you, which way are you moving?
Thank you for your question.
Which way?
And to give Charlie credit, he didn't take the bait. He didn't take the bait. You could hear him earlier in that first clip where he's saying, let him talk, let the guy talk, give the guy a chance to speak. Then there's this last one I'll show, and then we can talk about it.
So I do not have hate for a group. I do not have hate for a people. I have hate
so I can get it on my camera. So Instagram,
don't worry, we got plenty of cameras, but yeah.
But yes, so you do not hate the LGBT community, and Turning Point is not against LGBT.
No, how could I hate that which I have a heart for?
Thank you.
And I might not agree at that for some of the lifestyle choices that some people make, but of course not. And if someone said, Charlie, what's your view on marriage? I say, I believe marriage is between one man and one woman. But if you ask me, what do I have hate in my heart for somebody that doesn't choose the lifestyle that I believe that God laid out in the scriptures? Of course not.
And now I'm not. ICE.
What does that stand for?
Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement. Hey, don't touch it.
What are you doing?
Don't let her have her emotions, man. Just listen.
Have a nice day. Let's have a conversation.
She was wrong for that. But you gotta show yourself. If you really love her, you let her go.
No, 100%, guys. I'm not gonna press. Thank you. See, I'm not gonna. No, that's. Hey.
I mean, go ahead, brother. You were gonna say something?
No, go ahead. Is that all of them?
I mean, I think that's enough. I think we have one more.
What's different between white people? This is so important.
I can't break down the helix strand, but
Give me one thing that white people and black people have different biologically.
Don't change the question of this. Like DNA-wise, we are different.
No, we're not. That's a lie. It has been disproven. Front page of National Geographic 6 months ago. Racism created by society. If you look at DNA independently in a science laboratory, they cannot distinguish between a black person or a white person if they look at just the DNA, because the only difference is the melanin. It has been disproven. Race is a social construct that I want to break out of. What's different?
So I think that's good. I do.
So he deserves to die. He deserved to die for that.
Yeah, I mean, the idea, John, that I think we need to look at this from is this guy, he's trying to have a conversation, right? I mean, this has been said over and over again, and probably other people have said it, but I'll say it again. He's trying to have a conversation about the politics of like, what we're facing in this country. And in truth, he had a very honest, open dialogue with these people, and in each case, he went into the lion's den, as some may say. He went into the lion's den to have this dialogue, And the consequence of that is him being attacked, him being verbally attacked repeatedly, but he handled it with grace. He didn't flip out. He didn't attack back. And, he spread his message through nonviolent, that once again, the solution to talk you don't like is more talk. And I've heard him say it, but we've said it too on the show, to be clear, that the moment you stop talking is the moment people start fighting. And that's why, the whole thing I mentioned before about who is the country, that came from Mark Twain, who saw the effect of the Civil War and lived through that and saw the damage caused by it. And he understood that the job was to talk about things, not fight about things. That's why I think, not that I, talked to Mark Twain about this or have any inside knowledge, but that's why I believe he said that, is because talking is the solution to avoiding a civil war. And all of this that we're seeing happen within this matrix of this country, and the going on in the campuses, the politics, all of it swings back around to what you said before, 1850.
Star Park.
Star Park. Star Park. Are we back there? I mean, honestly, I think we're probably closer. It'd be 1855 at this point, or are we going to stop it and prevent it? And the only way that's going to be prevented is by talking. And the Democrats, yeah, there's a bunch of them. I mean, I've gotten into a whole bunch of arguments with people online the last 5 days or so, and it's all been, the Democrats just want to just say, well, we'll show a clip from the Sparta mayor of New Jersey, where he said, it's, you guys didn't care about the kids, or you didn't care about the Minnesota representative, you didn't care about the children or whatever. They're just trying to throw oh, you only care about it because it's Charlie. No, what we care about is this is political violence. This is political violence that is, we're saying, I mean, when can you say enough is enough? Do you say it at the beginning? Do you say it in the middle? Do you say when you're shooting at each other? Where is it going to stop? And the Democrats aren't interested in stopping. The big difference, and I'll say it again, I'll say it a dozen times if I have to, when George Floyd got murdered or killed or overdosed, whatever you want to say, riots for 5 months, right?
Summer of love.
Burned down, streets
30 people dead.
burned, buildings burned down, people killed, people beaten, riots in the streets, businesses destroyed, black and white businesses destroyed, and people afraid to leave their homes. Charlie Kirk gets murdered. Prayer vigils. We're just not the same. We're just not.
Because here's the thing, James, and with all due respect, you can't say anything because I said all due respect. It's beyond that. Just speaking now, we have to do something. Jesse Waters has got it right. We got to crush these people. We got to hang their evil on them and point them out as being evil. And they need to address it because they'll never correct. They'll never repent of their sins. They need to repent openly and publicly of their sins. And if they don't do it, then they will continue to be evil.
Retract it.
They need to repent of their sins.
I pointed out that I'll give you an example. I pointed out that the environment that we're in was created by the Democrats. This is something they called Trump a Nazi. They called him Hitler. They called us Nazis and Hitler. They called us fascist. Even the night of that Charlie was murdered, right here in Sussex County, rural Sussex County, New Jersey, conservative Christian place of Sussex County, New Jersey, where Democrats got up in front of the county commissioners and were still calling us fascist. We're still calling us racist, were still calling us Nazis at a county commissioner meeting. This is like they can't even stop themselves. They can't even stop themselves from the evil that they're purveying. And you know, the family's mourning. These little kids are mourning the loss of their daddy. And these Democrats are still going after us. And they just haven't learned the lesson. And I'm not suggesting we violently attack. I'm suggesting the exact opposite. I'll give you 3 examples. I wrote about this. I'm going to give you 3 examples. First, there's the quintessential, the greatest example of nonviolence, Jesus Christ. Undoubtedly, he is the example. When they took him away, he didn't fight. When they abused him, he didn't fight. When they dragged him up to the cross, he didn't stop. When they murdered him, he begged, he said, "Forgive them, Lord. They know not what they do." Right? Turn the other cheek. That's the example that everyone should follow, right? The nonviolent example. All of it. You got 2,000 years later, you get Gandhi at the salt mines, or I think it's the mines, where they're protesting nonviolently. The colonial police come in and start beating the protesters. Not one person raises a hand. They just stand there and get hit over and over again. Sends shockwaves throughout the entire empire. England or Great Britain leaves South Africa. That happened like almost overnight. You jump forward to the 1960s, Selma, Alabama. They cross in the bridge. They get attacked by the Democrats who are in charge, the Southern racist Democrats who beat the civil rights activists and try to murder them. And what happens? Spreads across the country, reverberates across, forces Democrats, racist in the Congress to pass the Civil Rights Act with full Republican support, by the way. Not a defector in the list.
Well, did Joe Biden vote for it, or was he at Selma? Because I keep forgetting. Because I think he says,
yeah,
right. He was there. Right?
Yeah. No, and it gets back to the whole point. What we need to do forward, it's very simple, very straightforward. We need to do more of that. Nonviolent peace vigils. When they hit us, you record it, let it go viral, spread it around. Because I'm telling you right now, people who have never been activated in politics before, people who have turned their cheek on it and be like, "Oh, it's just politics, don't want anything to do with it," shocked, dismayed, angered over the death of Charlie Kirk. And every time, John, I think that they show that video of that little girl running up to Charlie when he's on the set at Fox, where she yells, "Daddy!" I think you get another dozen voters against the Democrats.
Before we get that, because you want to end on that, let me point out this: it's not going to end, and the reason why is because the only question that's ever asked that matters is the one that Pontius Pilate asked of Jesus. What is the truth, right? And the truth, of course, is that today's gospel is 3:16, that God so loved the world that He sent His only Son in it to save it, right?
Yep,
and so,
sacrifice of the Lamb.
So there's nothing new under the sun except the United States except for the life of Jesus, because it's the same crap again and again. Adam and Eve, Noah's time, Sodom and Gomorrah's time, a million times where the Jews are like sacrificing to the Baal and sacrificing innocent babies. Today, again, baby murdering again. It's the same crap again and again. They even had a talking about transgenderism. They even had that Roman cult, the Sibylline cult, because one battle that happened to save the god Sibylline used to save them, that they had to be an official cult, but they were only allowed out once in a year because they would dress as women, and this is the cult that would do the self castration, as they're on the order. I mean, they were that crazy, right? So it's the same crap again and again and again. The only thing you do is the life of Jesus Christ and the political expression of that, which is the United States of America. This will not end because this is going to go on, because the thing that Charlie Kirk was doing, and the thing that we believe in, whether you're Republican or the real Democrat Party, is the truth, right? And that truth, it's the 2+4 thing is actually was a snarky thing back in George Orwell's day that he used and adapted for his book, 1984. And people would say, well, the atheist, it's obvious 2+2 is equal to 4. No, it's not. It's not obvious. The only way you can say that is because you're living in a Judeo-Christian society that reveres truth, and that if you lie or bear false witness, you go to hell, right? And you have to believe in something. You believe in Christ to get 2+2 is equal to 4. The whole point of Big Brother in that scene, famously, George Winston, the protagonist of 1984, his greatest fear is rats. Of course, he wants to say the truth. 2+2 is equal to 4. Well, Big Brother gets a hold of him, takes his head, puts it in a bag of rats so they can chew on his eyelids and stuff like that, and he's terrified. So he asks him beforehand, what's 2+2, and Winston says 4, right? So he sticks his head in there, and then he comes out. He goes, 2+2 is equal to 5. 2+2 is equal to 5, because Big Brother keeps saying 2+2 is equal to 5, and Big Brother goes, oh no, Winston, you're just saying that because you don't want to put your head back in the bag. We're going to put your head back in there because you don't believe it. You have to believe 2+2 is equal to 5. And that's what they are trying to force us to do. And that's why you see this evil venomance, against Charlie, because Charlie was a God-fearing man who spoke the truth. And if you speak the truth, then this will happen no matter, this is the response to the demons. I have to keep my sex nonsense. I have to keep molesting children. I have to keep murdering babies. Blah blah blah. And you're going to know this continue to happen no matter what. So you have to ask yourself: are you going to keep your mouth shut? Are you going to believe that 2+2 is equal to 5? Are you going to believe that men can compete with women fairly? In women's sports? Are you going to believe this nonsense? Are you going to believe that Donald Trump is a Nazi? You're going to believe that the lies that they tell? First of all, you think that's going to last? You think your society's going to last? You think America's going to last? You think anything's going to last? You think you can live your life like that? You're fooling yourself. And so I think anybody who thinks that this is just going to go away is fooling themselves. It's time to stand up. It's time to stand up like Charlie did. Charlie Kirk. That's what we need is Je suis Charlie. Only not like the Hebrew, Je suis Charlie Hebrew, where they didn't do anything then. We need to stand up for and say, this is the truth. And I don't give a crap what you say, because I know in the end, my guy wins. I read to the end of the book. The loser loses. And not only that, he gets thrown into the lake of fire, and I'll see you thrown into the lake of fire, pal. Or I'll do it myself. But this is the thing that they don't get. Let me finish up. This is the thing that they don't get. That the people who go this evil, the people who take the bait and have the hate, right? The thing that they don't get is that the devil is laughing at them. It's an evil alien intelligence that hates them and hates us. The devil is happy that they do this. They're happy. He's laughing at them. He's laughing at them. He's laughing at anybody who on that side. And so as long as you speak the truth, and that's what you have to ask yourself every day. Am I going to say the truth? Am I going to say 2+2 is equal to 4? Or am I going to cow down? Because no matter what you do, your head's going into that bag of rats. So you might as well say, F you, pal, and with righteous anger, say, no. You're evil. You need to repent of your sins, and you need to get back to God. And that's what you got to do. So it's like the great Star Parker said, it's 1850 all over again. Is America going to be biblical and free, or statist and atheist? That's what it's war. The Civil War is upon us, and the Civil War is again. And it's time to take these creeps. You're an un-American. You don't believe in freedom. You don't believe in the American ideals. And not only that, you're a creep. You're an evil creep. So get the hell out of here, pal. Get out of my country, because it's not yours.
I do want to. Well, that's right. I just want to. My point before about this is the whole thing about peace vigils and allowing the nonviolent approach. Recording it and getting the message out. I have an actual example of not so much of violence, but of calling out what you're suggesting about calling out those in power or those who are not in power for what they're doing, like the media who go around calling us Nazis and Hitler and fascist. We need to report on it. Let me make sure you understand what I mean by that. You're reporting on what is being said. And we have an example of that from, I'll play this here, from Sparta, New Jersey, where the mayor was, where they were there, they were asking why the flag was not at half-mast for Charlie. And so I will pause and interject where necessary. So here's the video. Oops, it's not, I'm sorry, I didn't. Technical issue, there we go. Volume.
This is our town, Sparta Township, New Jersey. More people are coming. These are all people that are hurt and devastated. And our flag has not been lowered. Our flag has not been lowered. And we would lower it right now ourselves, but we can't because it's locked. We can't lower.
I just want to point out that back in June Pride Month, I believe the Pride flag was flying from those poles in Sparta. I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong out there. I could be.
Our flag. That's disgusting. This is not okay. God bless Charlie Kirk. God bless your family. God bless America. President of the United States and our Commander-in-Chief says half-mast, forget state politics, forget politics. That's right. Lower the damn flag. And we all had a rough week, and I appreciate all of you showing the love and support and who we really are. And this is Sparta because it's time to get our town back, folks. Neil, was your decision? Would you lower?
So this gentleman here is asking Neil Clark, the mayor, would you lower the flag if you because you're the mayor, would you lower the flag?
Yes.
He says, if it was my decision, no, I would not. That guy in the blue is Neil Clark. He's the mayor of Sparta.
You're done next year, buddy. You're out. You're out.
In the first state that we had children die in a Catholic mass, and not a damn single one of any.
So I don't know if you can hear it.
Yeah,
he said
this is their talking point, and then the other one they throw in there is Josh Shapiro. Let's be real. Spoiled little Josh Shapiro was in his rich mansion and was not in the Pennsylvania State Mansion when it was attacked. And the guy who attacked it was a Palestinian, and he was attacking it because Shapiro is Jewish. So that was blue on blue crime, right? That was leftist crime. And again, he wants to make the point of another trans shooter shooting up the Catholic school kids, right? We should have. You're right. We should definitely have. The flag down and lowered for that but the problem that is with all the shootings from the left of the right, it'd be down all the time.
Well, I think the point that was being made by the one gentleman before when I stopped it the first time was that the governor has not acceded to the lowering of the flag. The governor has not allowed it to happen. I mean, Trump said make it happen, but the states can always say no about that.
They won't do it because he won't. He can't bend.
Murphy's a Democrat. Yeah, Murphy's a Democrat. It's about ideology. It's not about what is right.
It's the fake ideology that took over, taken over the party.
If Neil Clark was capable of putting aside his ideological bent and look at this from what it is, okay, maybe he wants to make the case. Good faith. I'll take the Charlie road on this one. Out of good faith, you believe that it's because no one was there for the Christian students who were murdered, which
No, it's illogical. He won't lower the flag because this is his religion.
But no, I said okay, but that was then. This is now. You have an opportunity to do the right thing now. Is it too late to do the right thing when you've been doing the wrong thing? This is the right thing to do. But this is political violence. And where were you then? let's ask the question in reverse. Did you lower the flag for those kids?
Well,
the answer
James,
is
the
no.
truth is
You
the
did.
attack on the
You
kids
did.
was the same as the attack on Charlie, in a sense that it's attack on the truth. You know, that they do it for the attention.
But John,
and they're
he didn't lower the flag back in then when those kids were murdered, and so he's not doing it now. So both times he's responsible for doing the wrong thing, and both times.
Well, it's not logical because this is their religion. But are we ready for it's 105 now? Are we ready for the finish?
Yeah. Let me. So the finish is we have a clip from Erica Kirk's speech. It's a 30-minute thing, but this is only a clip that we got. Even though it's from CBS, I still want to hear what she has to say. Here we go.
They should all know this. If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country. In this world, you have no idea. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry. To everyone listening tonight across America, the movement my husband built will not die. It won't. I refuse to let that happen. It will not die. All of us will refuse to let that happen. No one will ever forget my husband's name, and I will make sure of it. They should all know this.
So, brother, the clip there is very powerful, I think. But, in a larger sense, she's calling for, the movement, the truth to be out there. And I think that, as people who believe in the truth, I mean, it's a powerful statement for her to be saying that.
So can I finish up, or you want to?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Throw in.
So you said a little earlier about women that are stunned and shocked by this, right? And you said it earlier about the babies. You see the cute little girls, little blonde girls that are on the beach. Have them wrapped around his finger as they're taking him shopping, and he goes, no. You go, okay,
right, yeah,
right.
Yeah. Like all fathers, I did the same thing here.
Right. As like all fathers, you said it exactly. Yeah. Right. What I think is happening. Then you've also told me that there are women that that are just like in tears at this, and I'll tell you why.
Non-political women, John.
Non-political women.
Non-involved, previous to this activated and now activated.
I tell you why. It's just because they murdered this poor man in front of his wife and his daughters. There's nothing in our entire history has exposed the evilness of the fake Democratic Party more than the fact of what the Democrat Party just did. They murdered a man in front of his wife and in front of his children. And so now, for the future, they can see it. All these moms out there who voted for that nitwit Biden or the nitwit Obama, they can see what they voted for. They can see who it is that they voted for, because this is the evil at the heart of an evil party that murders little babies all the time. Because now, and they can all see themselves there, all the women can see themselves there, can see their husband slain before their eyes. But worse, they have to watch their daughters watch this, and they have to watch, and then they know what that means, and they know this for the next 40 years, as these little girls grow up, and as they go and they do a play, they'll look out into the audience and they won't see their father, thanks to the evil Democrat Party. And they'll grow up and they'll graduate from school, from high school, and they'll look out for their father, and they won't see their father, thanks to the evil Democrat Party. And they'll look and they'll go to their wedding, and they won't be able to dance with their father, thanks to the evil Democrat Party. And nothing more shows it more than this and that. And that's what those women are responding to, because they can see themselves and they can feel that pain brought by this evil ideology that has infected the Democrat Party. And so nothing more than this incident. And it will be just like she said. This is what she's talking about. This is what she's referring to about being woken up. So to all these women out there, yes, this happened. And we have to keep reminding them and let them see it again and again and again, so they know where they are and how we have to crush this evil ideology and these evil sinners who think this is the truth and that this is their religion and they have to be crushed. And that's what's going on. And that's why it was such a powerful statement. And everybody should watch it. But of course, now wonderful priest today, Father Lowe, pointed out something. He pointed out that at one point, holding the cross that he had around his neck, it was all covered in blood, and the evil atheists will say, "Oh, ha, ha, ha," and then we'll mock her because the cross didn't protect her. But they don't understand that the cross has already saved him, and that's why she was waving that cross, and the bloody cross. And it doesn't matter what happens to us on this world, because in the end, we know what happens, and we don't care about this world. We look for something bigger and more important. We look for the love, and you're going to be either the party of love or the party of hate. And they've chosen to be a party of hate. They've destroyed the Democrat Party, the fake Democrat Party. And it's time that is brought up to them again and again and again. Do we shove it down their throats? There's a famous scene in Tombstone. Remember the scene in Tombstone where he chases them, where Wyatt and Earl, they chase them until they take the red scarf, the sign of their evil gang, and they throw it off. That's what needs to be done to these evil bastards who will murder a man in front of his wife and his 2 little baby children. Screw them.
I think also one of the groups that you mentioned, but I think one of the groups that is going to be a big change for it are the children. There's a lot of kids out there, and you saw it in the clip from Sparta. There were a lot of children there because they are traumatized by this as well, and it's unavoidable. I know that there are young people out there that have seen that clip, and they look at that clip and they see their parents, like you said, being slain in front of them, and I think that's a very powerful message that's not going to go away. This is not 1960 when you assassinate somebody and it's only shown on the movies in the TV when they want you to see it. This is something that can be seen anytime, all the time, and it's going to be hard for these kids to ever.
Well, it's a movement across the world. I seen Signs for Charlie over in England, where something like 500,000 or 1 million people were out there with Tommy Robinson trying to take back England. It's done in South Korea. I've seen clips of people holding up Charlie's face, and we all have to realize we are all Charlie. They will all murder us, in front of our children if they get their way. They will. And they will not get their way. As long as and they won't get there. The truth of the matter is, as long as he's in charge, and he is, they're not going to get their way. We just have to make them admit their sins and repent of their sins
Last point, John.
To be brought up.
Last point. We alluded to this before. There's the fake Democrats, and then there's the real Democrats. There are those Democrats, and I know them, who abhor what happened last week. They look at that as evil. And they are out there at the prayer vigils, and they are looking for peace, and they are trying to get peace. But it's the same thing. You got to clean up your own party. You got to clean up your own side. You got to fix it. You cannot be on the sidelines anymore. You have to stand up against this evil. But the first way to do it is you got to take ownership. You cannot fix the problem until you take ownership that your party has done wrong and create the environment that we're in. On that note, brother,
it's hard to say, but since he's up above and we know who wins, we'll all be laughing, as we throw the evil one down into. Well, I'm going to be saying the same. Say, Michael, whoa, Michael, get in line. I get my shots in first. Sooner or later, that bastard's going into the fire, the lake of fire. That lake of fire. At the end of time. So I have to say this, and I'll say it. It's all good.
Because God loves you to the end of time for all time.
And then
God
beyond.
loves you. And then beyond.
I don't think there's a hell of a lot I can do. We're at the mercy of the computer.
Got some magic happening. We're bouncing off Russian and French satellites. It may have faint signal.
How exactly are you going to negotiate that? What magic wand do you have? And usually the